Massachusetts finally has a gay rights bill prohibiting discrimination in housing and employment. But what about the rights of gay teens?
Gay teenagers may not be looking for apartments or jobs, but they are looking for acceptance. To help them get it, Governor Weld has commissioned a task force to study their special needs and concerns, taking a potentially explosive issue from high school corridors to State House corridors.
I've never met a young person who has said that they've made a decision to be gay or lesbian.
Who would make a choice to be part of such an oppressed minority?
The very community that always claims to be discriminated against seems to have no problem imposing its view of the world upon people who legitimately and without hate feel that their view is wrong.
We aren't all sexual. We aren't perverted.
And for a long time, I really didn't think that I'd ever be able to tell anyone, and if I did, it would just be a few people, and it would sort of always be this secret and always have to be this thing that I was really ashamed of.
For most young people, the teen years are a turbulent time. When you're gay or lesbian, the problems are compounded. Troy Betancourt is president of the Boston Alliance of Gay and Lesbian Youth, a place where young people can get support from their peers.
And I had a girlfriend for 3 years, and I was on the soccer team, and I did everything that people supposedly expected me to do, until finally I just couldn't deal with it. And I dropped out of high school because I just didn't feel comfortable living this lie that I had created.
In 1989, a report by the United States Department of Health and Human Services revealed the suicide rate for young people soared 170% in 30 years. Even more disturbing was that gay and lesbian teens accounted for about a third of those suicides. When presented with this information, Governor Weld formed a commission on gay and lesbian youth. David LaFontaine is the chairman.
Unfortunately, abuse and homophobia is rampant in most high schools, and for most gay teens, going to school is a frightening thing.
The list goes on kids who end up running away, dropping out of high school, turning to the streets, alcohol.
And is that common?
Very common.
The Governor's Commission on Gay and Lesbian Youth would like to see school systems create programs and policies to ensure that gay and lesbian students are safe and are not denied their right to an education. 5 key recommendations are: establishing school policies protecting homosexual students from any form of discrimination, training school staff in crisis intervention and violence prevention, starting school-based support groups for all students, keeping information in school libraries for homosexual adolescents, expanding the curriculum to include gay and lesbian issues. Reverend Earl W. Jackson of the new Cornerstone Exodus Church.
Why in the world would you bring it into the public school as if society is settled about what we think about this? I mean, it is asking for trouble and tension in a climate that ought to be conducive to peace and education.
But going to Cambridge Ringe and Latin High School was anything but peaceful for Al Ferreira, who says he suffered through both verbal and physical abuse from some of his peers. He's now a photography teacher at the same school. Times are changing.
The point that I want to make was that,
Today, Cambridge Ringe and Latin is one of a handful of schools in the state which incorporate gay studies in the history, science, English, and health curriculum.
It's not like, homosexuality 101, but rather where it's appropriate to the curriculum that's already being taught, simply acknowledging the contributions that gays and lesbians have made throughout history.
I mean, I heard a woman on the news that was a teacher saying, oh, we have enough trouble teaching things already and we don't have time for this. I mean, you don't have time to talk about things that are going to save kids' lives. That's ridiculous.
I do not encourage students, adults, or anybody else to do violence or harassment against people because they happen to be homosexual. They have a right to be let alone just like anybody else. And I think that ought to be dealt with severely. I mean, now to me, that's a balanced way of approaching it without, on the other hand, endorsing the lifestyle.
But these teenagers claim being gay or lesbian is not a lifestyle choice.
We're just teenagers, and we happen to be gay. I mean, when I introduce myself, I don't say, "Hi, I'm Troy the homosexual."
We, are all individuals. Sex isn't the first thing that's on our mind. We're not hunting down every female or male we see and going,
Exactly.
I think if this is discussed earlier, then people will just grow up being more accepting. And not only is it going to help the gay people, but it'll help the straight people to realize that, everyone around them isn't the same, and that's okay, and that's just part of life.